Um, Here to cover, I think, the longest WWE show of all time. Is that correct?
Is it longer than WrestleMania? I think that there have been longer shows.
6 hours and 55 minutes.
WrestleMania would have been similar to that.
I think the longest I can ever remember was when they went 40 minutes past the...
No, they've gone to the top because WrestleMania, the idea for WrestleMania is to go off the air between midnight, and I think this one was the same thing. The idea was.
Well, this one was like 10 minutes prior to midnight.
Yeah.
It's either the longest or very, very close. This was a long show.
Yeah, there were WrestleManias where the first match starts at 2:30, and I think this one started about 2:45, maybe the first match. But it was so long that I was thinking that I'm gonna have to cancel my appointment in the morning because the show was still gonna go on. But it felt like watching the last match that they were rushed on time because they were getting people in there. They were rushing people in. I think the women's match just. I don't know if it went too long. It felt like it went too long, but by the time, or maybe they just mistimed the show and they were, because it just felt like the men's match they were, rushing things through like a lot, and that there's a lot of weird booking. I've got to say that there's some good booking and there's some really weird booking, and it was a show. The big results were mighty predictable, I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, it was, they actually used that idea that we heard as far as Becky losing and then coming back to win. I'm gonna guess that Asuka tapped her because they want to set up Asuka against Becky for, once Becky beat Ronda, but then you still have to do some manipulation because Becky would be the Raw Women's Champion and Asuka would be...
Doesn't matter, because they did the shakedown or the superstar shake-up or whatever,
yeah, and
like 2 weeks after Mania.
So you can move one of them.
And for crying out loud, we're talking about something 4 years down the road. I mean, this could long be forgotten.
Yeah, probably won't though. That one was significant enough that they probably won't forget it. But yeah, I mean, there is that possibility to be forgotten in 3 weeks too. Yeah.
Well, there's also the possibility the only reason that she tapped out clean was they figured if she gets screwed, everybody's going to know she's going to come out and win the Rumble. If she loses clean, it's less of an opportunity or less of a chance.
I think everyone knew she was coming out because they were chanting her name at the end of the Rumble. So.
Well, they chanted her name as soon as Nia came out and Lana started limping down.
As soon as Lana started limping, that's when they chanted her name. Yeah.
All right, this is gonna take a long time, so let's start with the pre-show and get going.
All right. So the pre-show had a unique match. It was Bobby Roode and Chad Gable against Dawson and Razor, which ended up with a moonsault block and Chad Gable pinning Dawson. It was just a match. It was like any 6-minute television match. There was nothing wrong with it and nothing right with it. It was just there. Then Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev for the U.S. title. So the story there was that, there was a landslide by Nakamura, and then he went after the turnbuckles and he went to undo it, and Lana told the referee, she started screaming, he's cheating. Rusev went after Nakamura. Nakamura moved. He knocked Lana to the floor. She's selling her ankle. Rusev is all concerned about Lana.
He's so concerned. He's standing there yelling, "Get up!"
Yeah. Well, he was distracted. I shouldn't say concerned, but he was distracted. And Nakamura did a Kinshasa from behind and pinned him to win the championship. So that was the match. That was okay. It was. I think that they had a pre-show match before, and I thought that one was slightly better than this one, but it was just okay. It was nothing special. And then the other pre-show match was the Cruiserweight title, Buddy Murphy, Kalisto, Hideo Itami, and Akira Tozawa. This match was freaking gangbusters. From a move standpoint, it was easily the best thing on the whole show. But the crowd reacted much better. I mean, because this was really a well-thought-out, sensational match. They did all kinds of things. They did new stuff. They did a whole bunch of stuff. They were copying the Young Bucks. They were copying, Buddy Murphy always copies Kenny Omega anyway, so Buddy Murphy's doing all the Kenny Omega copying stuff. But Tozawa doesn't have to copy anyone. But so you had a lot of that type of stuff. I mean, there was somebody else they were copying. Will Ospreay. Yeah, but Murphy's been doing that cheeky Nando's kick, before. So that really isn't new. But it was a really cool match. It was a great match, and let me see the highlights. Tozawa did a tope on Hideo Itami. Buddy Murphy. Well, actually, let's see. There's the first tope. Was Tozawa did a tope into and was kind of caught by Buddy. He did a tope and then turned it into a Hurricane Rana on Buddy Murphy. Then Kalisto did a monkey flip of Tozawa on the apron, and Tozawa flew into Buddy Murphy. And then Tozawa did a tope on Hideo Itami. Murphy backdropped Kalisto on both of them. Buddy Murphy did a Terminator dive. At this point, the crowd reacted, and actually kind of big, considering they weren't reacting up until that point because it's cruiserweight matches on the pre-show. Murphy did cheeky Nando's kick. Tozawa did a reverse Hurricane Rana on Murphy. Hideo Itami kicked out of the Salida del Sol. What was this? They started doing super kicks all over the place. Kalisto came off the top ropes into a V-trigger. Buddy Murphy did a knee and Murphy's Law on Hideo Itami and got the pin. So those were the three pre-show matches.
All right, the main show opened up with Asuka and Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's title. They basically had a babyface match early, just going back and forth, and not a ton of heat. Asuka put her in the Asuka lock, but was in the ropes, had to break. Becky put her in the disarmer. She was in the ropes, they had to break. Asuka made this big comeback, top rope drop kick, went for it, missed it, and Becky slammed her for a near fall. The big spot was at the end. They fought on the apron, and Asuka's teasing this German off the apron to the floor. And Becky blocks, and finally Asuka grabs her and gives her a cradle neckbreaker off the apron to the floor.
I think it was supposed to be a Crossroads.
It was a brutal landing, and
yeah,
Becky,
it was the spot from the Kota Ibushi Cody Rhodes matches.
So Becky barely made it in by 10. Asuka kicks her. Becky hits a middle rope exploder for another near fall. Tried the middle rope leg drop and landed in the Asuka lock. So they trade near falls, they trade cradles, and finally Asuka puts in the Asuka lock again. Bridges.
They also traded a lot of submissions. They each did each other's submission on each other.
And Becky was trapped and tapped out.
Yeah.
So Asuka retains the SmackDown Women's title. It's a very good opener, but an interesting finish.
Well, I mean, Asuka winning clean was certainly one of the finishes that they could do if Becky was winning the Rumble. I thought it was the finish that they would do. I thought that Asuka worked a great match. Becky was good. She kept up with her. I mean, it's really clear that Asuka is like a step faster than, like, Asuka has to slow her game down to kind of keep up with Becky, so to speak. But I thought that by the end, it turned into a very good match after a good start, but it got better. I mean, I thought overall good. And Becky was the biggest star on the show, probably by far. So that helped them a lot as well. I mean, even they were a little, the crowd was never away from the match. It was one of the better matches on the show.
So we're going to get to the Women's Royal Rumble in a second, but as far as the finish goes, there's another possibility for the clean finish, and that is that Becky, the story of the match, if you're doing the story that she's going to replace somebody and win the Royal Rumble as a babyface, she should have been screwed here out of her championship. Somehow she ends up being screwed.
No, I think that Charlotte should have screwed her out of this, absolutely.
Okay, so then later she, of course, finds a way into the Rumble. She wins the Rumble. That's the better story for a babyface.
Yeah, but maybe they felt because of what they're doing in the Daniel Bryan match, they didn't.
Well, no, here's my thought. So, if Becky had not found her way into the Royal Rumble, last woman in the ring that was originally scheduled to be there was Charlotte.
Yes.
Okay, so Charlotte can argue, you shouldn't have been in this match. I should have won the Royal Rumble. Now,
Yes.
if Becky says, but I got screwed, that makes the whole dynamic different. Charlotte's argument can be, you not only made your way into the Rumble, you didn't even deserve it. You got tapped out by Asuka in that match. It's a better argument for Charlotte than if Becky had been screwed in this match.
I wonder if Charlotte will even bring that up. I mean, it's possible, I suppose, but I think it's more for to set up Asuka for a run with Becky, because once Becky becomes champion, even though they're in different brands, I don't know exactly how they'll work that out, but that's how I saw it, was that you want that win because Becky's going to be the number one person, and she'll have won over Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. She'll come off that win. You need another woman strong for an opponent, and that's where Asuka comes in.
I think it's very effective old school booking, but I don't think they're going to do that. I can see them doing something where they go,
I don't think this one's going to just be
it's not
done,
gonna,
done and forgotten and not have any
but I see it more something where someone's going to come on TV, some authority figure, and say that, yes, Becky, you weren't scheduled to be in that Rumble, and yes, you lost to Asuka clean. So if you want this Royal Rumble win to stand, you need to beat Asuka at this next pay. They got 2 pay-per-views left. So I think they're going to do this match in a pay-per-view, and she has to beat her to keep her WrestleMania spot.
Okay, and then at that point, you have both champions in the match, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that going in there. I think the idea of, but if you had done that, if you were going to do both champions, I think that it's better for Charlotte to be beating Asuka, because Becky Lynch won the Rumble, and Ronda Rousey beat Sasha Banks, so she won. So if you're going to do a third person, Charlotte won't have beaten anyone. To me, Charlotte has to beat Asuka, and then you have the 2 champions and the Royal Rumble winner, and I can see that. Like, that's a big main event. That's a good first women's main event. But we'll have to see how it all plays out. I mean, in some way, and I don't know 100% Charlotte's getting in the match. I presume. I mean, as of a week ago, she was, and I can't imagine it changing. But I didn't watch. Like, if I watched the show, I was going, okay, now how does Becky get in the match? Well, it's very obvious how she does. How does Charlotte get in the match? And to me, it's like, well, she's going to do something later because she didn't do anything tonight. Although she does have that argument, but she still needs to do something. She still needs to do something. Maybe Ronda will demand it because of what happened at the pay-per-view in San Jose. I mean, maybe that's the direction they're going. I don't know.
So we had the Shane and Miz versus...
Well, not San Jose, but the Survivor Series. San Jose was the next pay-per-view. That was one where Ronda wrestled Nia Jax. San Jose was the Survivor Series was Ronda and Charlotte Flair when Becky Lynch was hurt.
We had Shane and Miz versus The Bar for the tag team. Very clunky match. Shane's in there running wild, killing guys. They're stiffing him back. They're just beating the shit out of each other. Miz got...
Shane had some lumps on him when that thing was over.
Miz got taken out, and so for a while
Miz probably didn't want any part of that stuff.
He was outside. And then they worked him on for a while, and Shane's all beat red on the apron. Gets a hot tag, he runs wild again. Cesaro blind tags in, and Shane punches him out. Goes for the coast-to-coast dropkick on both of them, but Cesaro catches him, gives him the giant swing. Swings him like 20 times.
Yeah, it was 20. That was a super spot.
He swings this guy 20 times, and he puts him down, and Cesaro's the one selling. Shane puts him right in a triangle. And
was he trying Gogoplata?
No, it was trying. It was definitely a triangle.
No. He did a triangle. He did a really weak-looking triangle, but I thought he was setting up a Gogoplata and then did the triangle.
I think he screwed up the triangle, but put on the triangle.
Well, it was a screwed-up-looking triangle. So the thing is like, okay, so he's spun 20 times, and it's like he didn't even sell it for like.
No, the other guy sold it.
Well, the other guy got put in the hole, so that's why he was selling. But
No. Cesaro sold him, and he spun him 20 times, and then he starts stumbling around like he's dizzy, and Shane puts him in the triangle. That was the spot.
That's ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they do that, and of course he gets out, and finally they hit the double white noise on Shane, but Shane kicks out. Sheamus goes for the Brogue Kick. Miz shoves Cesaro in front. Hits Cesaro with the skull-crushing finale, and then Shane hits a shooting star elbow to the nuts on Cesaro for the pin.
Miz skull-crushing finale was on Sheamus, and Shane did the shooting star on.
No. He hit Cesaro.
I watched the replay.
Yes.
I thought
Sheamus took the skull-crushing finale. Cesaro took the elbow to the nuts.
Yeah. Because Cesaro was knocked out by the Brogue Kick, and he went down, and then Sheamus takes the thing, and then then Shane hits the shooting star. So yeah, quite a.
They won the titles. They celebrated with Miz's dad. His dad is finally proud of his son, who was once the world heavyweight champion, but now he's got the tag belts with Shane. Something to be proud of.
I'm sure that he was proud of him in other ways before. It's just a storyline on Shane. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, I know some people hated it, but I know some people thought it was the worst match on the show, but I didn't think it was either of those. I thought the match was. There was some cool stuff in it. There was some funky stuff in it. Good finish, so it was fine.
48,193 in attendance was
No, there weren't.
Announcement. That's what they said. I'm just telling you what they said.
They haven't told the truth on a stadium attendance since they did. There was like one show that they did, like about 15 years ago or 12 years ago. But it's usually anywhere from. I mean, we've had. Dallas was like 20,000 exaggeration. Most of the time, it's about 10 to 13. So this one was. There were 40,000 in the building, but there was a lot of paper. I mean, the paid was 32-ish. So, but there was not 48,000 in the building. In fact, it would have been pretty difficult since they only set up for 43 if they had sold out.
Ronda Rousey, Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's title. Both women got a mixed reaction in the ring intros. Probably 60-40 boos for Ronda to Sasha, although they did get dueling chants during the match as they did their stuff. So, Ronda tries to throw, Sasha reverses it. Sasha tries an arm drag, Ronda reverses it. They go back and forth. Ronda did the rolling suplexes, which got a mix of boos and Eddie chants.
She did the Eddie Guerrero Three Amigos. She only did two and got the third one blocked. She did it really well, too. I mean, I don't know how difficult it is, but she did it like as smooth as Eddie Guerrero did. I mean, she did better than most of the people who try to do it to copy Eddie Guerrero.
Sasha worked over her. We got some dueling chants. Missed the double knees in the corner. Ronda went for the Piper's Pit Slam, which is her rolling AA deal thing that she does.
It's that Samoan drop looking thing.
Sasha rolled into an arm bar, worked over her arm, which Ronda had slammed into the post on an elbow attempt earlier.
So at first Sasha started working on the wrong arm, but she quickly corrected that.
Sasha cut her off on an armbar attempt and hit a superplex, went for a Kimura on a slammed away three hard throws. Sasha boots her outside, tried to dive. Ronda caught her, armbarred her on the floor. Sasha tapped out, but it didn't count because it was on the floor. So they go back into the ring, and they try a couple of other cradles and submission attempts. And Sasha had her an armbar for a long time, and finally Ronda escaped. Gut wrench powerbomb, another Piper's Pit, got the pin. So she pinned her and submitted her in this match, and retained the title. I thought this was a very good match. Apparently I'm in the minority.
Are you kidding?
Dude, I talked about how I thought this was a great match, and boy, did I get flack from people about that.
It was, the last I looked, it was winning the poll for best match.
Wow.
So I thought it was the best match on the show. There was an intensity level in this match that nobody had. Even Lesnar and Finn Balor, who had a really cool short match. Ronda brings an intensity level that, and Sasha Banks was right with her as a great opponent. I thought that this was it wasn't Ronda's best match by any means, but it was a really good match, I thought.
We'll get to the Brock Finn match here in a while, but I will say that technically in the ring, I thought this was a better match, but I enjoyed the Brock Finn match immensely. I loved that match. It was my favorite match. But as far as the best match, this was probably a better actual match. We had the Women's Royal Rumble.
That match sucked until the end. The end was very good, but the first half of the Women's Royal Rumble was
horrific.
It was bad. It was bad. And the other thing, too, it went 71 minutes.
I know. The thing was, they said 90-second intervals, which should have meant 45 minutes.
But they didn't get their
No,
timing
they were
right.
going 2-minute intervals here. Like the thing with the Rumble, everyone knows that the times are bullshit, but
Yeah.
it's not even so much the time as everybody has a spot they're going to do. And so if it takes you 2 minutes and 20 seconds to get your spot in, they're not going to do the countdown until you get your spot in. So we had tons of people in this match that were taking forever to get their spot in. And this match ended up going 71 minutes.
And it,
God.
I mean, if you have like the greatest Royal Rumble of all time, it can go 71 minutes, but this was not that. But to their credit, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch in particular are really, really over. So it allowed, I mean, the crowd was so hot. Basically, they killed the next match. They were so hot in this match, even though I thought this match sucked. And then the next match, from a technical standpoint, was excellent, but the people wouldn't react to anything they did. Yeah, a lot of, just a lot of botched spots.
Well, it opens up, everybody, the first entrant into the Women's Royal Rumble, Lacey Evans. And they put her in there with Natty, who's been doing this forever. It didn't matter. Lacey looked horrible. She tried to flip, she fell down. She tried to kip, she fell down. They're off on everything. Mandy Rose comes in next, and Corey's slobbering all over. Natty tries to put them both into a double sharpshooter. And fans pop for that, but it was awful, and there are no submissions in a Royal Rumble, so it was a pointless spot.
Yeah, but it's just a cool spot. It's a cool spot, and it was just there to set up.
I'm not here for cool spots. I'm here for a match that makes sense. And why is Natty putting two girls in a submission in a Royal Rumble?
I don't know, because it's a cool spot. It's a cool spot that always gets over.
Well, do it in a tag team match then.
Why do people do spots ever? Because they're cool and get over. A lot of times they don't make
the
sense.
point of a spot is to make sense in the context of a match. You could do this in a tag match. You could do this in a six-man.
You could say that she was neutralizing two opponents that could have attacked her. She did give it up. I mean, it's not like she sat there and everything. She did give it up as soon as Liv Morgan's music played. She just said, "Okay, I can't win this way," but there's nothing wrong with doing it. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with doing it at all.
I hated it. Anyway, Liv Morgan's in next, and she's immediately tossed. Lacey Evans still in there. Mickey James is in next, and she tries to eliminate Mandy, misses a kick she was supposed to hit.
Oh, that Mickey James, there was two moves in a row.
Yep. Ember Moon is in next. Everyone's just doing stuff. Nothing's happening. Billie Kay is in next. Actually, she's not in.
She wouldn't go in.
Well, first she says, "I will not get in the ring until Peyton comes out." So apparently when you come out, you can just sit there till 30 people get in. So I don't know why everyone doesn't do that. So she's sitting there, and she's sitting there, and she's sitting there, and Nikki Cross comes in, and she's sitting there. And finally, Billie just gets in the ring. She doesn't wait for Peyton. And then 10 seconds later, the clock hits, and Peyton's out next.
Well, maybe she knew from Peyton when Peyton was coming out, so she was just getting in the ring ready for Peyton to come out.
Why not wait for her like she said she was going to?
Well, she sort of did.
So it was horrible at this point. Too many bodies in the ring. Tamina's next. This
Not just too many bodies, but too many bodies that were not that good.
Yes. So Tamina's doing all these moves. She tosses Mickey. Xia Li is in next, and Xia Li kicks everybody, kicks the hell out of them. Damn near kills Lacey.
So the idea for Xia Li is that they will always refer to her as the first Chinese wrestler in WWE history from this match. So I guess that's the idea.
Great.
Which I don't. Didn't Tian Bing appear in the Greatest Royal Rumble? Maybe not.
I can look it up. Sarah Logan's in next at number 12. We had a near elimination with Ember hanging by her feet. And Logan goes to eliminate her, but she pulls her feet up
somewhere
and not down. Iconics toss Nikki Cross. We got Charlotte in next, and everybody went after her. Somewhere in here, both Iconics eliminated, and Charlotte booted Lee out of there. Kairi Sane is in next.
She was really good.
Yep, she runs wild. Big dive, goes after Charlotte. They got a striking battle. Lacey Evans breaks it up. Kairi hit a big elbow on Logan. Her and Natty eliminated her. And then next in is Maria. A million mistimed spots here. Hits a stunner on Mandy. X Factor on Ember. Charlotte spears her. Naomi's in next. She goes after Mandy. Fight on the apron. and ends up with Naomi booting Mandy out of the ring. So Mandy's gone. But then she grabs Naomi, tries to powerbomb her off the apron, but Naomi counters it, crawls to the dasher boards, walks across, jumps to the steps, which is very impressive.
That was really impressive.
So she saves herself, and then Mandy just yanks her off the steps and eliminates her.
You know that there should be a rule that if you're already eliminated, you shouldn't be able to eliminate other people.
Dude, there's a million rules there should be.
I mean, it's
Get in
like
the damn ring when you come out. That's one.
Yeah, I
Shouldn't
agree.
be able to eliminate somebody if you're already out there. Shouldn't be able to replace somebody. Like, the rules were totally inconsistent in the 2 battle royals on the same show, by the way.
Well, I figured that the first one was the precedent set of the second one. Once they made the ruling on the first one, you can always just
No, the ruling she had to be given permission from an executive.
Okay, well, then she just beat somebody. Who knows? And then what was it? I don't think that they should be able to crawl under the ring and hang out with Hornswoggle either.
No.
I mean, I don't.
Should be countouts or should be DQs. All of these.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you're just doing logic, because it.
God forbid.
Because like let's say so all of those things you brought up are just ridiculous. You know, like crawling under the ring is just ridiculous if you think about it. That should be like a disqualification or whatever, or a count out. But the one where you don't enter, I mean, you should have like whatever it is, a minute to enter. If you don't enter the ring by the time the next person enters the ring, you should be out. That should be your time limit.
So next in was Candice LeRae, total babyface.
She gets over. Like
Yep.
she just naturally has the ability to get over.
Alicia Fox is in next, and they did this horrific spot with Alicia and Maria over a hat. Nobody paid any attention to this. They're just totally dead.
Marie was stomping on her hat, her captain's hat.
Katie Catanzaro is in next. They did a few spots to make her look good, but then absolutely bizarrely put her with Alicia Fox, and it fell off a cliff. I have no idea what they were thinking. Zelina's in
They were
next.
probably thinking that Alicia Fox has 10 years experience and she could help this woman through the match.
Are they blind?
Yes.
Okay, that answers that question. So Zelina goes after Candice, and then Ruby Riott is in with Liv and Sarah, and they proceed to all just get in the ring and stomp on all of the different girls. They tear people out of the ring, beat them up, throw them out. This happened to Candice, and I think somebody else as well. Zelina sneaks under the ring. Dana Brooks in next, and powerbombs Casey. Liv and Logan then drag Dana outside. Ruby eliminates Kyrie, and Zelina keeps peeking out from under the ring to remind us that she's there. So they eliminate Kyrie, and then Io Shirai comes out. They don't have them team up together because they're a team. They have to eliminate one first. And she takes out the Riot Squad. Zelina peeks out again. Rhea Ripley's in next. She looked great. Dana Brooke tosses out Casey, but her feet don't hit the ground. She does a handstand walk back to the post, does a sit-up on the post, climbs the post, gets back in the ring. That was
really
awesome.
Cool. That was really cool.
And then they eliminated her immediately.
Well, she got to her spot. That was probably like they overdid the stuff like between
Yes.
with Naomi, Kofi Kingston, and Casey Catanzaro. It's essentially the same thing 3 times, which was, I think you can do it. Here's the thing. It's like Naomi's standing broad jump was really, really cool. And like with Kofi Kingston, it's kind of like he just has to do it. So I get that. He just has to do it. But it was becoming a cliche. And so that was the problem.
The other thing, too, is, like, as a fan, like, when someone does something really cool like that, like, I want to see him get in the ring and run roughshod. Instead, it's like every time they do this,
Yeah, with
they do a
Kofi was-
very impressive get back in the ring and are immediately. It happened all three times on this show.
And it happens every year with Kofi Kingston too.
Yep.
He always does this cool thing, and then he's eliminated, a couple minutes later, if not a minute later.
So then Zelina peeks out, and Hornswoggle appears, chases around like a creep, and they run to the back, and that's the end of that. She got eliminated by Rhea. Sonya Deville is in. Rhea Ripley tosses Dana, who actually looked pretty good in this match. Alexa Bliss is in next, and tosses Sonya Deville.
Alexa Bliss got really big reaction.
Bailey, that's what happens when you're not wrestling every week on television and you return.
Yeah, well, they presented her, like of the women, they presented her like one of the 2-3 biggest stars, and so the people react to her like she's a big star.
Bailey's next at number 27.
Bailey also got a big reaction.
Yep, tossed Rhea and Ruby. So next is Lana, but her ankle's taped up because she fell off the apron. So she's walking literally as slowly as humanly possible. The ramp is like 100 miles long, so it's going to take her... I mean, she wouldn't be there by now if she were still walking. Then the people start chanting, "We want Becky." Nia's in next. Comes out, starts beating up Lana. Io tries a moonsault onto her. Nia catches her, tosses her out. Carmella's number 30. Hits the ring. Makes a big comeback in slow motion. Becky finally storms out. And Lana's still nowhere near the ring. Everybody's tending to her. Lana is down. And so Becky storms over to the one Irishman they've got there. And he puts her in the match. Seems like a conspiracy.
Well, she had to talk him into it. At first he said no, and then he changed his mind.
So Finlay lets her in, and she goes after Nia. Charlotte tries to toss her out. They get into a brawl. Alexa and Ember on the apron. Alexa eliminates her. Carmella and Bayley team up to toss Alexa, which gets booed. Nia threatens to punch Becky. Charlotte breaks it up. Charlotte tosses Carmella. Final four: Bayley, Charlotte, Nia, and Becky. Nia goes for the Samoan drop on Bayley. Charlotte boots her. Bayley flies outside, down to the last three. Becky ends up outside, not over the top rope. Charlotte powers up Nia, but then collapses, almost drops on her head. Tries it a second time, gets her to the apron. Becky then yanks Nia off the apron to the floor, so it's down to Becky and Charlotte. Nia runs over and bumps Becky off the steps. Becky sells her knee. So she sells. This show, by the way, is like, I don't know, 3.5 hours old, and I'm like, dude, just get in the ring already. Finally, she gets in the ring, and they have a big fight back and forth. Charlotte takes out her knee, goes for the big boot, misses. Becky tosses over the top, wins. She's your 2019 Women's Royal Rumble winner. No WrestleMania sign, so they put the logo on the Titantron, and she dramatically points at it. The second half, I guess the final third saved this match.
Yeah, the final third. I would say the final third. But yeah, there was a lot of bad early.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean the first half I was going like, this is the worst Royal Rumble match in history. But at the end, I would not say it was the worst Royal Rumble match in history. In fact, I actually ended up thinking that it was on par with the men's match, if not better. Because the men's match...
It was definitely not better than the men's match.
But yeah, but the men's match to me was... It was fine, but there was like very little, to me, standout good stuff. It was just kind of like going through. I thought the men's match was very uneventful.
It was doing all of the Royal Rumble spots.
Yeah.
All right, so Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, they went 24 minutes. They're working their ass off. Nobody cares. It's sad.
It was so dead because Becky Lynch winning the Rumble was such a big pop, and whoever came out next was the death spot on the card. And I think the people expected with Daniel Bryan and AJ, since they're the best workers on the show, that they'd be able to do a match to get the people back. But for whatever it was, people never really, even at the end, I mean, the finish sucked, but the whole body of the match and everything was very, very good and would have been an excellent match on another show. But the people did not react.
Do all of the stuff you normally would not see in a WWE ring. They're doing full Nelson Dragon suplexes, teasing the Styles Clash, all sorts of things. And finally, yes, at the end, there's a double down, and out walks Eric Rowan. And the referee takes a bump. AJ hits a Styles Clash. There is no ref. Rowan hits the ring, gives AJ an Iron Claw chokeslam. Bryan makes the cover. 1, 2, 3. Wow.
I wonder where this is going.
Well, Bryan's got a new crew. The Vintner and Luke Harper, I guess, are going to be his new... He's Bray Wyatt now.
Yeah, I guess. We'll see. I mean, most of the time Bryan's stuff works, so we'll see. It's just
we're going to test him here.
On this finish, this finish was just very flat, to say the least. Well, the match was flat, but the match was at least very well worked. But the finish, I think even if they'd had a great match, everybody would have gone well. The finish, but again, in time, if it leads to something good, I got nothing against finishes like that. If it leads to something good, I'm not sure it will, but we'll see.
So then we had my favorite match. Lesnar, Finn Balor for the title. I loved this. So, as everyone knows, Balor is small, Lesnar is big. Balor used a double foot stomp, and Brock Lesnar once had a very serious battle with diverticulitis. So Brock is beating this guy's ass, and they end up outside, and he goes for a charge, and he runs gut first into the corner of the table twice, and Finn proceeds to work over his diverticulitis. And Brock would make these comebacks, and he'd do a suplex, and he'd hold his guts. And he'd do a suplex, and he'd grab his stomach. And finally he goes for a German, but his stomach, he just can't even lift the guy. Finn makes this big comeback. He gets cut off again. Brock goes for the F5. Balor turns into a DDT. Starts stomping the hell out of this guy's stomach. Standing double foot stomp. 3 flip dives to the outside. Big drop kick in the corner. Goes up top. Hits this gigantic double foot stomp right to the guts. And right as he goes for the cover, Brock switches into the Kimura, and Brock's got this look on his face like, it's my one chance here. And he squeezes, and Finn Balor taps out. I cannot do justice to this match. I love this match. It's not like the best match of the year or anything like that, but story-wise, Finn's performance, Brock's performance, the story of the match, I loved this. It was great.
It was good.
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I didn't think it didn't blow me away or anything. It was very short. I mean, it was all action. It was all fun.
It was a great 10 minutes.
It was 8 minutes, but it was a great 8 minutes. I'll give you that. I mean, as far as an 8-minute match goes, it was really good. All action and everything. I didn't find it. It didn't have that grueling thing that you want out of a classic match, but they didn't have time to do it. And it was probably the right way to do the match, especially that late in the show. Maybe it was booked longer and they just said, we're just way too long. And I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. Because it felt like it was the perfect length for what they were doing. So, but, yeah, in that case, that late in the show.
I will say this, however. So, Finn wasn't going to win. And Finn Balor did his best, and he looked great, and he got tapped at the end. They didn't need Brock to beat his ass after.
Not at all.
That sucked.
Not at all, because Brock had already won, and yeah, I completely agree. You didn't need to destroy him and leave him for dead the way he did.
Finn was over, even though he lost. But when they beat him down, it was like, same old guy.
Yeah.
Put him right back where he was. They didn't need to do that.
No. Finn came out of it when it was over as being exactly what Vince McMahon said he was. When the finish was, I don't think that he was that. I think the finish I think he'd been elevated, and then at the end they took that elevation away, and he was right back to where he was. So yeah, I agree with you there. The post-match stuff. It's like the mentality is, well, Brock didn't look strong enough, so we leave it with Brock looking strong. But you know what? He won, and he's the champion. A champion can escape with a win, and that's strong enough, in my mind, because he's the champion. He doesn't have to destroy everyone every time out. So, I mean, but Brock's their money guy. So it's like, when it's over, it's almost like, why did they give Finn so much in the match? Because in the end, it didn't really mean anything.
And finally, the Men's Royal Rumble, 10,000 commentators here. So, this show's just going on forever. And we got at least an hour left. And so what do they start with?
I was like having nightmares on JBL commentary. I'm not kidding. It's like I fell asleep after the show, and it was just like, God damn.
So they start out with Elias, and he just goes on and on and on.
With Jeff Jarrett, they took forever.
And then Jeff Jarrett comes out, and they go on. I'm like, dude, start this match already.
Here's the other thing, too. So, it's all well and good that there were people who remembered Jeff Jarrett's 1993 angle, gimmick today, or 1994, whatever year it was. But it's like, that was not the costume for Jeff Jarrett. That's all I gotta say.
No.
It just made it look like he had no business out there. I mean, he could have worn something else and looked fine, but that was not it. It was like just such a bad idea. And I think Jeff was good. I mean,
dude, Jeff threw the best punches of anybody on the show.
Yeah.
And there was 1 million people on this show.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Jeff was fine. He's a pro and everything.
The issue was not Jeff. The issue was we were 5 hours and 55 minutes in the show, and they're out there babbling for 10 minutes before a 1 hour match even starts.
I didn't like Elias I don't. But I will say, the people reacted big to Elias, but it was just like, God, just get this thing going, you know?
So they get it going, and Jeff is eliminated after a guitar shot. Shinsuke's in next, and him and Elias do a couple spots. Elias did a rope walk into an arm drag. Kurt Angle's in next, almost kills Elias with an overhead belly-to-belly right into his head. Big E is in next, and Angle lays him out with a slam. Nakamura puts Angle on the apron, hits the Kinshasa. Angle eliminated. Johnny Gargano's in next.
I don't like when I just don't like when they treat legends like that. You know, I mean, I think that people want to feel good. I mean, obviously Kurt's not going to win, but I just felt that they, again, because just like the thing when he was with McIntyre, it's like he's not gonna win, but give him like enough. And they gave him some stuff early, but it was just like he still was like one of those guys just in and out really quick. And I think that the better story would have been him in for a significant amount of time, and then when he was thrown out, people would really be pissed, as opposed to when he's thrown out. I mean, they were pissed he was thrown out, but it was for a different reason. It wasn't because they were thinking he was a threat. It was just that, like, well, we want to see him longer. Whereas if he was thrown out later, it would have built up more.
Gargano is in next, and he's trying to run wild, but for some reason everyone's on a different page. He tried a tornado DDT on...
Nobody wanted to sell for him that big.
Nah, Big E just stands there when he tries a tornado DDT, and then he finally falls down. It was horrible. So Jinder is in next, and Gargano tossed him out. Sings are still in the ring, so they got beaten up, and Big E bullied them. Stuffed pancakes from his tights down their throats.
Only one of them.
Samoa Joe's in next, his first ever Royal Rumble. Runs wild on everybody, tosses out Big E. Kurt Hawkins comes in next, and he's trying to not get in the ring, like Billy Kay, but the refs are like, we gotta get in the ring. Like, what? I just watched another Royal Rumble where they didn't have to get in the ring. So they forced him into the ring.
He didn't have a partner to wait for it because Zach wasn't in the Rumble.
So keeps rolling outside, goes under the ring. Seth Rollins comes out next and tosses Elias. Titus O'Neil runs down, doesn't slide under the ring, gets a giant pop for that. Goes under the ring to get Kurt Hawkins, chases him back into the ring, gets low-bridged, and ends up outside like a geek. And then Samoa Joe toss Hawkins. Kofi's in next, and dudes are just hitting each other. Mustafa Ali comes in, goes after Joe. Eliminates the U.S. champion Shinsuke Nakamura. So a big push from Mustafa Ali. Dean Ambrose is in next. This is when Kofi did his spot, which was basically a crab walk with his feet on the apron, back to the steps, climbed back in. Anticlimactic after Casey Catanzaro and Naomi. Dean tossed Gargano. We have No Way Jose coming out and immediately getting eliminated. So he starts dancing to the back, and then Drew comes out and beats his ass and kills some of the geeks in the conga line. Xavier's in next. Kofi gets knocked off the apron. He does a sunset flip on the Xavier, but his feet don't touch. So Xavier hoists him up onto his back, takes him to the steps, and then Drew tosses both of them out. Total overkill on this gimmick this year. Pete Dunne's in next, then Andrade and Apollo. Too many dudes in the ring. Aleister Black comes in next, gets a loud NXT chant. Tosses Dean Ambrose. So he's out of there.
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty clear Aleister's main roster now.
Yep. Shelton Benjamin comes out next. Couple spots, but there are too many guys in the ring. Samoa Joe gets tossed by Mustafa Ali. So Mustafa Ali has now tossed Joe and Nakamura. Keep that in mind. Baron Corbin is in next. We are 6.5 hours in the show. Here comes Baron Corbin. He tosses Apollo Crews. Jeff Hardy is in next, and he runs wild on everybody. Baron Corbin tosses Aleister Black. So he's out of here. Drew tosses Pete Dunne. Number 5 not getting booed this year is Rey Mysterio. He's immediately killed by Baron Corbin, then by Andrade. Barely even ran wild, just got killed by everybody. Lashley comes in next. Weird spot. He gets thrown outside, grabs the ropes, but then falls out anyway and grabs his arm. I thought, oh my God, did this guy hurt his biceps? But then he grabs Seth, drags him outside, slams Seth through the table, leaves him for dead, and he leaves. Got Braun Strowman in next. He tossed Baron Corbin, Shelton, and then McIntyre tossed Hardy. The big surprise coming in at number 28, Dolph Ziggler.
What a surprise.
Oh my God, he's teasing that he's gonna quit, that he's gonna leave, that his...
They're doing lots of angles like this right now.
Yeah, well, Ziggler's back. He's just in the Rumble after promising he wouldn't be there. Tosses Drew McIntyre. Strowman just keeps running people over. Number 29 is Randy Orton. So we did a stacked up superplex spot with Rey, Andrade, Ali, and Lashley, which was horrifying. Not Lashley, I forget who the fourth guy was. Braun did his favorite spot, run really fast into the post and fall outside. And then it's time for number 30. And as everyone is well aware, there was a mixed match challenge. Winning team, number 30 in the Rumble. Carmella was number 30 in the Women's Rumble. Number 30 here in the Men's Rumble, R-Truth. And every time someone's number came up and they started to come out, everybody in the crowd jumped to their feet. Number 30 is R-Truth. Everyone's sitting down. R-Truth comes out. He starts singing. Everyone's thinking, man, who's going to kill this guy and take his spot? Answer is Nia Jax. What?
I know. What's the purpose of that?
What is going on? Isn't the point of having a men's and women's Royal Rumble so that, like, the men have their Rumble and the women have their Rumble?
Yeah, but they've had women in the Rumble before.
So can a dude enter the women's Rumble next year?
Now you're trying to make sense out of this.
Yeah, that's everyone's job as a fan.
Yeah, well...
Since when could a woman enter the men's Rumble? If there's equality, then a man should be able to enter the women's Rumble next year.
Beth Phoenix, and I know they didn't have women's Rumbles then, so I guess you could say that, but I can't argue it, and it's like, if you're going to do it, why her?
Yeah, that's the big surprise.
I think the idea is that they want to slowly bring in, because, this is the first time that a woman took punishment from a guy, and if you're going to do it the first time, you do it with a really big woman who's bigger than most of the guys. So that way, people are going to go, it's not really, the woman's really big, so you ease it in, because that's one of the things they like to do. So maybe they feel that, there's enough people complaining about, after that mixed match challenge about how predictable it was and how guys couldn't touch the women, and maybe they want to get those spots in, and to get those spots in, this is the way to start. This would be the place, and that would be the woman to do it, because visually it doesn't look so bad.
So she comes in, and after all that work that they did with Mustafa Ali, eliminating Joe and
that's probably why Nakamura, that's probably why he eliminated the big stars, so that wasn't such...
Nia tosses his ass out.
Yep.
So Orton and Nia have a face-off. She runs him over. She sets up Rey and goes to toss him, but Dolph super kicks her. Rey hits a 619. Randy hits the RKO. Rey and Randy team up and throw her out. That was your big number 30 surprise. So Seth wakes up. Randy hits Rey with the RKO, tosses him outside. Andrade tossed Orton. So it came down to Andrade and Ziggler in the ring, Seth and Braun outside the ring. Braun comes back first, runs him over. Seth then comes back. We have a four-way brawl. Braun tosses Andrade. We have Seth and Dolph on the apron. Braun charges. Dolph gets sent outside. Seth tries to toss him, but Braun's feet don't touch. And they fight back and forth for a while. Finally, they end up on the apron. Seth sends Braun into the post, gives him a curb stomp on the apron. Braun falls outside, and Seth wins the Royal Rumble. He is shocked. He cannot believe that he won the Rumble. After promising for a month he was going to win the Royal Rumble.
He never checked the odds once. He was always the favorite.
And then he points to the WrestleMania sign, and the show goes off the air. That was a weird-ass show.
There was some weird stuff in it, for sure. I thought, very front-loaded. The beginning of the show seemed really good, and then it really started to drag in a lot of spots, and then the crowd was intermittent, and I didn't think it was a blow-away show. I certainly wouldn't say it was a bad show. There was a point where I would have said, this is a really good show, and then by the end, I wouldn't say that anymore. I would just say it was a show.
All right, so we got to get the story on Cena and the AEW shirts as Royal Rumble follow-ups.
Cena wasn't there. They announced it in the afternoon. He was never going to be there. It's whatever. It's, that's their policy. I think it's kind of bullshit, to advertise. It's one thing. I think it should be okay to a point to shoot an angle and change a match, but it's like with Brock and Braun Strowman on this show, I mean, it was advertised for weeks and weeks. And I think that, obviously, if they were going to do the angle with Balor, they could have done it earlier. But they just, I mean, I know that they figured that Lesnar's going to sell more tickets with Strowman, so that's what we'll do, and then we'll do the switch. And then with John, it's like, look, we got a big stadium to fill, and John's the biggest draw. But was never going to do the show, ever. So I think that's really kind of cheesy. He not only just was listed, he did a promo for it too, as he should if he was in it, because he's John Cena. But yeah, so I mean, we kind of knew it was coming. It's what happened. Doesn't make the fact that you knew it was happening make it any worse that they did it, though.
All right, the AEW story.
I mean, it's a minor story, and it may have been only one person, but there was footage that leaked of somebody wearing an AEW t-shirt and being forced to remove the shirt. So, and it makes WWE look really bad in social media. That's why, like, I can't believe, they did it in this day and age. Like, 20 years ago, it was one thing. And then remember that show where it was the Jacksonville show, where it just got on social media that they were doing that, and they quickly, really quickly, they said, like, because they sent it to me. I don't even think I asked. I know, you know what? I did ask. I asked because I said, like, this is not a good look, social media wise, and it was this was conflated, and it never happened until then. Several people who it happened to, in fact, told us. So it obviously did, but they were all let back in later. So it was like they had this thing, it got heat in social media, so therefore they rescinded it and didn't, whatever. And in this case here on this show, as far as I can tell, it wasn't a groundswell of things, because we didn't hear it like at the Jacksonville show where we heard it a lot. On this one, we just heard it from, there was the visual of the one security guard telling one person who was, in a good camera location, that he could not wear that AEW t-shirt on TV. But, in this day and age, I just think that's a bad look. And of course, the Young Bucks immediately, Matt Jackson's like, you can wear any t-shirt you want at our show. I mean, look, pay your money for your ticket. You should be able to wear your t-shirt, and it shouldn't be something that you get so paranoid over. But, I thought that from the Jacksonville show, when they rescinded it and let it happen, that, that was like kind of like the thing of like, but I guess, obviously, between Jacksonville and now, in somebody's mind, things have changed.
Alrighty, a couple of other news notes here. WWE announced a new halftime heat, although this one will be on the WWE Network, shot from the Performance Center, an NXT six-man.
Yeah, it was Ricochet, Aleister Black, and who's the other one? I've got it right here.
Boy, did they bury Maroon 5.
Yeah, they did. Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, and Aleister Black against Ciampa, Gargano, and who is the third guy? I should know this. Adam Cole. So probably a hell of a match. Now, are they going to let fans into the Performance Center? Because if they just do a match in a ring at the gym with no fans, it'll be really flat, and I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm presuming that they'll somehow allow fans in to cheer and boo.
Or a bunch of wrestlers you've never seen before to play fans.
Yeah, but then you'll get a really fake reaction, and you'll be able to see through it, and I don't think that's a good thing. But I'm sure. As far as a marketing idea, I think it's a great idea. I think that people will know to tune in. It gets the network over. It you put in, it's going to be a nice, fast-paced match with lots of good spots, and yeah, I think this is a really good idea.
Will Ospreay
got arm dragged yesterday, or maybe it was today, maybe it was this morning, but he got arm dragged and he broke his toe, and he's not happy because he does all these crazy things, and
that's what happens.
Yeah, but this is, it happens all the time. I think that when sometimes I just think this one was just a complete fluke injury, just whatever. So